So manhood or malehood and femalehood is identity. Husband and wife are roles. The role is not compulsory. All this culture, everybody must marry. Is why we have made people should not marry to get married, and they mess up people's lives. Your child can have a say in what moves the family forward. But if you undermine the child, you will lose out. Some of you, the success factor in your family is in your wife. But because you grew up never to see your father listen to your mother, you have failed to listen to her. How do you have a wife who is the financial director of a company? A church pastor even finds her useful, but she can't handle family finance. What are you teaching your children? What are they even observing? So if you are raising your boy child, let them be visionary, let them be formidable, let them be wealth-minded, and let them be value-adding. If you are raising your girl child, let them be visionary, formidable, wealth-minded, and value-adding. So don't go to a first section of the library and say, come and be reading Everyday Woman. Let them read books on leadership. Let them read books that put them in the boardroom. Talking about building an effective family governance system, and as Africans, we have to admit, we're not naturally systems-driven people. We're naturally emotions-driven. So we love emotions. I'm sure when you were growing up, you still remember that your parents beat you for what you didn't even know you did. Right? Have they apologized? Instead of apologizing, even when they discover, they will now say maybe there was something you did and God wanted to punish. They even have an adage for it that if someone wants to suffer, even if he goes to Sokoto, he will come back to Sokoto. Right? And you see, what that has done for us, even as a nation, is the fact that we've not been able to scale a lot of things and systemize a whole lot of things. There are so many good things about our African continent that the only problem is that we still have people who are very emotional. Now, I left Nigeria 4 years ago, about 5 years ago. But you see, I wasn't emotional about my departure because I had an entire organization running. We have an entire institute and all. But 5 years to my departure, I was not a signatory to anything, maybe 10 years before. Yeah, because what I kept doing was to show them how it's done, build a team, and when I left, I told them I'm 6 hours away in time zone. I can't kill myself monitoring what you guys are doing. So it's your call. Right? And they've done so well. Because if you don't understand how systems work, you will sabotage your family. Have you ever asked yourself, how do terrorists emerge? You know, they pick a child, and you know, in the entire transaction of radicalization, there is no point where they hold hands together and say, let us pray to the name of the devil. In the name of the devil, let this child become evil. Let this child become evil. You know why? Because they trust their curriculum to produce an outcome. So how come our own curriculum is not producing the outcome we promise people? Because we compromise and we make a system become emotional. Because systems are not emotional. You know, the beautiful thing about system is that if I'm in a meeting, or let's say Pastor Steve, for example, let's say we are in a strategy session with Pastor Tukumo, and let's say I'm the leader. I'm sorry, sir. Right? And then Pastor Steve is the one that antagonizes me the most. Right? And it's succession time. And I'm so sure he's the one that can lead the organization forward. You know what we normally do? We will pick the one who say Babari Babake, and we'll make him to lead the organization. And that's why many second generation organizations do not have the same impact the first generation had, including churches, because succession becomes emotional. Now I'm talking family, because if you don't understand how to build a family governance system, you can't even build a nation. So when we talk about nation building, I have seen people build nation. I've studied nation building models. I've studied the Japanese model, studied the Chinese model, studied the Indian. You see, we were looking for a house one day in Canada. We wanted to move to a new house. And we got to a house, it had 11 Indian families. There was bed everywhere. I saw bed under the staircase. I saw bed in the kitchen. I saw mattress everywhere. It was like a madhouse. So I had to interview them to say, why are you guys leaving? Oh, they said when they came to Canada, they realized that a house cost $2,700 every month as rent. And they felt 11 of them, why should they go and dash landlord 2,700 in 11 places. So they decided to rent one, and all of them will live there. And they said something. They said by that their overhead monthly came to like $200 and $220. It says so they took a decision that until the 11th family got their third house, they will not leave. So I said, so why are you guys leaving? They said the last family just bought their third house. So I said, what are you going to do now? He said, we are going away to replicate the model. But you know, two siblings can't even live together in the same house with us. It came from family. Because we were raised to be competitive, not to be collaborative. And that takes me back to the scripture we started with the last time. Any enterprise is built by wise planning. Become strong through common sense and profits wonderfully by keeping abreast of the facts. Again, not keeping abreast of facts will rob people of what they're supposed to know. So here are a couple of fundamental truths. Number one, God is the author of the family. You believe that? Yes. I believe we all believe that. Number two, every society started with a family. Yes or yes? Yes. I can't hear you. Yes. Good. Until we begin to understand God's concept of family, we will be victim of cultural and religious errors. And there are so many of those errors flying up and down. Right? But then the essence of the family is the society. The only thing on God's mind was the revelation of heaven and earth. See, there is nobody you call bad leader like today that didn't model our family. Because one has what families raised them. And it's not as if we didn't have it good in Africa. It's just that we didn't place it on the system and we didn't scale it. Because I remember when I was a child, I could have been a gambler. But I went into the casino because my friend said if you put your coin, you know, money will drop. As I got in the casino, a man looked at me and he said, are you not FOWOWE son? I said, yeah. He said, your father does not come to a place like this. Afira, go home. Now, he said it in Yoruba, and because I was a Yoruba boy, what he literally said was that I was a bastard for showing up in that place. I wept like a baby. He didn't have to beat me. I didn't go back there. Why? Because it took a village to raise a child. So what has happened to our villages? You know, we did it and we just assumed we'll continue like that. So another culture came and superimposed itself on our culture. And so now everybody says, my truth, my truth. That's because it's the era of post-truth, where loud and bold is the new right. And because we didn't build a system, so we have people who escaped from asylum, mental asylum, and now they are influencers. And now they are podcasts. That's why a girl says, you know, any man that doesn't have 30 million, you know, she's very cheap. If I have 30 million, I won't even talk to you because something is wrong with your mentality. But you see, as far as she's concerned, she has said the biggest things. Does she have 30? Does she even look like 30 million? Any guy that can give that girl 30 million is sick. Are we together? So a whole lot is going wrong in our world because family is failing. And that's why if there's a group that can build family, it's the believers. Yes, sir. But you see, as believers, we now need to be taught and get it right and know how to do it. So the first thing you want to do in this session is bury your ego. And bury whatever you must have been told that I'm the king of my family, because you will truncate God's agenda by your own personal agenda. Are we together? Yes. Now, the source of every national problem is the family, because that's the production factory. There is no leader that is stealing that didn't start by stealing from his family. Everybody looting started by looting from his family. So if you say we are a couple and husband is making 1 million, you are making 1 million, but you are not declaring 1 million. You are declaring 500,000 and you are secretly funneling money to some other people that your spouse is not aware of. Is money laundering you're already doing. It's just that EFCC has not caught you. Because you are developing a pattern. By the time you get National Assembly, you will create an SPV that will be working within the and be funneling money into it. Anybody rigging election has been rigging from the family. If a man drinks and his wife says, sweetheart, stop drinking because of your liver, and he says, keep quiet. 3 children comes and say, daddy, stop drinking because of liver. He says, keep quiet. Unknown to him, election already held. 1 person was for drinking, 4 people were against drinking, yet he continued to drink. So in his family, 1 was greater than 4. When he gets to National Assembly, 4 will be greater than 19. I can literally see many of the things we complain about in our families. How did many of us start stealing? Because dining table, go and check our dining table model when we're growing up. Right? Daddy will be served with 6 meats. Mommy will take 3. They will now give the child one chin meat like that. They will now put a condition to it that until you finish your food. So the child is wondering, what have I done wrong? Was that not how you started helping yourself in the fridge? Are we still here? So you can literally link the table behavior in your family to how you started stealing, because it was unfair. And that's why the conditioning has caught up with you as an adult, that even now as an adult, when you still eat your food, you still reward yourself with meat. Isn't meat what you ate last till now? Yes. Conditioning. The quality of your family determines the quality of the society and ultimately the happiness of the world. Now, the family is an institution and no one is empowered to outgrow the system. Because once someone outgrows the family system, it becomes a monster. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So your wife should be able to call you to order. Your children should be able to call you to order. You must be able to call your wife to order. But there are some of you sabotaging the family because nobody can call you to order. Don't you know I'm the Lord of this place? No. So you remote control, you control everyone, but you can't be controlled. We should actually worship you and start singing to you. That's what you are. Unquestionable, you are the Father. Because you are a Lord unto yourself. Because what is it about you that they can't talk to? Right? I mean, I don't understand it. Your wife can't talk to you, but you can sleep with her. Make it make sense to me. Because why can't they talk to you? That's why, you know, the kind of family I came from, my father was very strict. So my sister bought a car as a banker, 3 years into banking, and brought it for my father to pray for her with a bottle of wine. My father did not come down. My father looked at my sister and said, I know your salary. If I calculate your salary in 3 years, you shouldn't be able to afford this car. So why should I come and bless it? Say, I hope you are not started stealing. Then my sister now explained that she got a loan. So my father wondered, why would you get a loan to buy a car? Okay, can I see the loan document? Until he saw the loan document, he didn't bless the car. That's the kind of family I came from. But you know now, there are people who buy cars for their parents. They say, what do you do? I'm an influencer. I'm a content creator. How much are you making? And their mothers are dancing on social media. That's the damage that has been done. In this Lagos, if you stole, they shot you at Baba Beach. Your father will take you to go and watch the shooting, and he will be reminding you to say, I hope you don't plan to steal. That was how we grew up. But you know now, people steal, we worship them. We bow to them. And then when you see someone who is honest, we tell him, you don't know what others are doing. You are an idiot. I did a project for Lagos State government. And so they put all the money in my account. But there was someone who didn't come, whose money was in my account. They were not aware. I invited everybody they asked me to invite. So I took the money back to Alausa with a report to say, this guy did not show up, this is the money. What account do I retire it to? They started looking at me, are you a pastor? Are you a pastor? Nobody brings money back. Nobody brings money. I said, no, it's not my money. You know why? When I was growing up, my father puts a coin on his table and he used a pencil to circle it. He sends you to his room. If your hand mistakenly moves the coin out of the cycle, my father calls it attempted stealing. My father will beat you. He will not ask you to pull out your pocket. When you pull out your pocket, he will say to you that when you steal the money that is not yours, it tears your pocket, that when you make yours, it never stays. I never forgot the lesson. My father would tell you it is arrogance for you to be going to a meeting and for the people to be waiting for you. He said humility is when you are the one waiting for them. So in my organization, we have a policy. Before any meeting, 30 minutes we're there at the most. In fact, it's the first baptism we teach you when you join us. My father. What are you teaching your children? What are they even observing? Because it looks like everything has just... Because if you have not lived in Nigeria long enough, you would think we have always been like this. We were never a people that celebrated thieves. No, we were never. We were never a people, bow to money. No. See, I was an Anglican boy. They taught us how not to steal. Right? Our priests were not, they were real. They were not rich or wealthy, but they were contented. That's why we call them Eniowo, the revered one. We could question them, we were not rude to them. And they didn't strike us and say, touch not my anointed, you will die. Until I joined Pentecostalism, I didn't even understand all these things. If you ask a pastor a question, they will say, you have no right to ask me a question. I didn't understand it. What has gone wrong with us? Because you have to understand that error and chaos is created when a man or woman outgrows the family system. And you are going to send a signal to your child to say, so when you say to a child, behave, but you are misbehaving, you are going to send to him that make misbehavior aspirational. So when you become an adult, misbehave. Until everyone becomes responsible to a family system, we will keep producing larger than life leaders. Because your family should be able to call you to order. Because when you go to public service or any organization, you are first of all representing your family. And we can tell about your family by you. So virtue is lost simply because we compromise truths. We say, you know what, let's accommodate them. I'm not a pastor, so I always say to people, if I probably pastor a church, I wouldn't want more than 50 people. I'd rather produce 50 people who will take on 50 cities than produce 1 million people who are foot soldiers. Because many leaders love the crowd, they don't love the people. I know pastors will tell you, Pastor, see, to disciple 100 people, sir, it literally takes your life. So how do you disciple 1,000 or 7,000? So we compromise quality so we can see everybody is born again, but the society is worse. The source of every national problem is an ungodly family, and the solution is in building a godly family. So until we discover and submit ourselves to kingdom family system, we'll keep going around in circles. So we say family starts when the wholesome male and female decides to become husband and wife. Have you asked yourself, why did you get married? In many classes that I run, when couples have crisis and we ask, why did you get married? 8 out of 10 can't answer that question. You will hear things like, I got married because I've always wanted someone to take care of the home. Housekeeper. Yeah. Or I'm of age. What does that mean? People didn't know. They were asking Hillary Clinton when she was contesting. They said, why didn't you leave your husband when he cheated on you? You know what Hillary said? He said, when we were courting, we discussed and we both knew that we were going to be standing as national leaders. He said, so when Bill cheated, he said it was painful. He said, but I understood the purpose why we got married, that when adultery came, the purpose for getting married was too high that the sting of adultery could not touch it. I didn't forget. Because when purpose is not understood, abnormal use is inevitable. If the consequence for you disintegrating your marriage is that 1,000 people whom you love will die, will you not be well behaved? I interviewed 40 couples who were divorced, and I asked them a simple question: if the reward for staying married till 40th year of your marriage is that the economy of Japan will be handed over to you, will you still have gone through divorce? All of them said no. I said, so what will you do? I said, I will manage. So I will make it work. I said, if it's guaranteed that the economy of Japan will be given to me. So I said, it means that the stake was not high enough, was why you went your separate ways. The tragedy of family is the coming together of the husband and wife who were never male and female. So let's do a bit of house cleaning and redefinition. So who is a male and who is a female? Because there's a cultural definition and there's a scriptural definition. Now, culture says that the male is a superior gender created to rule everyone irrespective of his intelligence or ability. That's culture. And that's our culture. Right? Reality is actually that the male is the masculine expression of humanity created for the purpose of dominion and management of the earth. You know, those days, Lagos state government will send people who were beating themselves, husband molesting their wives or abusing their wives, to my office. And I always ask them, why are you beating these women? So we run a test we call culture compatibility test. The first question is, a man is superior to his wife. Do you agree or disagree? All the women beating their wives agree that they were superior to their wives. So where did you get it from? The Christians among them will tell me the Bible. Say, where in the Bible? Say, and God said, let us make man in our image. I say, oh yeah, continue to read. Say, and let them. I said, if it was man, how did he become them? It was singular, it should be singular. It should be him. I said, could the Bible be saying something else in there? I said, so let's check. Then we check and realize the word man there is humanity or mankind expressed in two gender, male and female. Because up until 1900, the concept called man was not gender-centric. It was used for both male and female. Then you say, I didn't know. Oh, really? So that's why you're beating your wife, because, you know, you think that you can beat her is why you beat her. It's not a weakness, it's a wickedness. Because if it's a weakness, then that weakness must manifest everywhere you go. If a policeman stops you, you must slap him. So if that weakness is a respecter of person, then it's not a weakness. And I've stopped a lot of men who were beating their wives in Lagos in the early days. I don't do it anymore. I'll just register the women in taekwondo class. Not so that they can beat their husband. So the day they want to qualify as black belter, we invite the man to come and watch the sparring session. So he watches the sparring session and sees his wife take a grown man down with her feet. And that's the end of the beating. You just need awareness to now know that. One woman was telling me, she was giving me a feedback. She said, Praise, one day my husband got angry. And I asked him, honey, are you angry? He said, no, angry. Because if your wife is a major general in Nigerian army, you won't beat her now. So it means a male must be visionary. So if you are raising your boy child, let them be visionary, let them be formidable, let them be wealth-minded, and let them be value-adding. If you go to the female, it's the same thing. The difference between male and female is just gender. Right? And so, female culture says the weaker vessel is potentially expressed in the kitchen, bedroom, and through the motherhood. You know, the concept of weaker vessel, we have even misused it. I think it was Peter that was talking about it, right? Treat them as weaker vessel. But Peter was speaking based on the awareness he had at that point in time. Women were not gymming at that time. There's a lady called Laila Ali, daughter of Muhammad Ali. She was world heavyweight boxing champion. Between Laila Ali and her husband, who is the weaker vessel? And a vessel is a container, it's not the content. He holds something. So it's assumed that women are weaker. I don't think women are weaker. You have not met a proper woman, right? And so the reality is that she's the feminine expression of humanity created for purpose of dominion and management of the earth. So if you are raising your girl child, let them be visionary, formidable, wealth-minded, and value-adding. So don't go to a first section of the library and say, come and be reading Everyday Woman. Let them read books on leadership. Let them read books that put them in the boardroom. Because you look at the nations being led by women right now, they've done better. Go and check. Some of the nations being governed by women, New Zealand, all this, they've done well. During COVID, they did better. That's what data says. Right? Because now I'm looking back and I'm wondering how many women we did not allow to fully manifest themselves because of this patriarchal culture that says that they should be in the kitchen. Are we still here? Yes. Good. And so, let your girls be visionary, formidable, wealth-minded, and value-added. Because at the level of male and female, the business we have to do together is friendship. And we can't be friends if there's no equity. Come on. So if you're looking at me simply because I'm a lady and you think I'm inferior to you, something is already wrong. And now you know, you went to school, there were ladies who were coming first in your class. Why didn't your manhood, if it was superiority, make you come first? Were you not writing the same exam? So manhood or malehood and femalehood is identity. Husband and wife are roles. And that's why the role is not compulsory. It's actually optional. You don't have to, you can say, I just want to be male and female. I don't want to marry. Because all these cultures, everybody must marry. It's why we have made people should not marry to get married, and they mess up people's lives. Because you now need to understand that in a culture, wife, we say, is the homemaker, bed warmer, baby production factory, the cook, and the all-purpose species whose submission must be activated even when she has a superior idea that can assist the family. But what does the Bible call a wife? He's the kind of help that only God could have supplied in ensuring the effective creation of a system that can promote the best interest of all and give our world rest. That's why scholars will say that if you check Ezer in Hebrew, Hebrew is Ezer. If you check it in Greek, is the equivalent of the word parakletos, which is the same word used for the Holy Spirit. So what it simply means is that female is a commanding spirit, wife is a suggesting spirit. Because Holy Spirit suggests to you, you are left to take it or not. Every time I've not taken the counsel of my wife, I run into trouble. Even on subjects she doesn't know anything, she just say, I just feel something. Right? So it means interdependence, ability to sell, influence, sound esteem, security, leadership, and nurturing. You must know how to influence as a woman, as a wife. Sorry. Because there are times you will need to influence your man, but you must learn to bypass his conscious resistance to influencing. Because if you come direct, you'll be defensive and you won't win. Are we together? Now that's another ballgame entirely. I can't get into the strategy for that. But the man, the husband, is a breadwinner, ATM machine whose role is to provide for the family and command obedience without any contrary opinion. Is a king that must be worshipped lest he gets angry. But the English word for the husband is the bridegroom. The word already defines the role, the groomer of a bride. That's why I love Ephesians. It even covers pedicure. It covers wardrobe management. I say clothing her in dazzling. It covers wardrobe management, the role of the husband. Right? The groomer of a bride started with his responsibility of transforming a bush into a garden into an oasis for the purpose of creating an environment that is fit for. That is why, as a husband, you cannot have low self-esteem or insecurity. How can you be competing with the person you are grooming? And if you don't understand it, you are like a coach. Forget all these coaches who are now manifesting. The job of a coach is to prepare a player and sit and watch the player perform. Because if your wife gets to the top, in whose name has she gone? So why are you upset that your name is trending at the highest level, but because you are not the one in the room, you are angry? You're Finidi George Abi. You see, Pastor Fumi is very versatile. She knows Finidi George. You know, I look at the body language of that guy. I said, this guy is not a leader. I hope we get to the World Cup. Up. But I don't like up. Because if the right system, how can Benin Republic hire a coach and Nigeria cannot hire a coach? Corruption. Benin can pay a coach that we were owing. And the coach we fired now beat us. With substandard players. So collaborative, security, sound esteem. Your esteem has gone because your wife is your first child. So every time you ask yourself, where are you going to throw her to? Your job is to groom. And oftentimes you don't groom her on your terms, you groom on the terms, which means you need to stoop sometimes to conquer. So when the Bible says it profits wonderfully by keeping abreast of the facts, that's what it's talking about. You need to know the facts. Right? When I met my wife, she didn't like to read books. She was reading some books, all those Frankson, Riverson, Rivers. Is that in the room? Those were the books he was reading. I was like, this book will not teach you on leadership. I don't know what these people are writing. So I needed to get out of read. She said, no, I don't like this your kind of books. That's the self-help book. I said, okay, no problem. I won't force you to like them. So what did I do? I went back to think, how will I get out to read? So I come every day and I say, you see my eyes are heavy, but I need to read 20 pages of this book now. So can I sit beside you and you read it out to me? You don't have to be interested. So she starts to read it to me. Then she says, oh wow, this guy is making sense. Can you get me my copy? That's how she started. Right? So I influenced her without lording it over her. Because you can't threaten someone you love and say, what betide you if you don't do what I say? Leadership, interdependence, grooming. You need to be able to groom your wife. That's your responsibility. Right? She's like your Cristiano Ronaldo, you are the Alex Ferguson. Your fulfillment is in the performance of your spouse. So you're not going to stop her life because she wants to go for second masters and you are thinking, who will be cooking for me? Because the destiny of some women have ended in the kitchen. I met women who were depressed, about 11 of them, 1 year like that. And the only thing in their lives was that, what was depressing them? They were high-flying women in school. Now they are a shadow of themselves. And all of them, the only thing I saw was that they married the wrong person. Who didn't allow them further, who didn't allow them live out their dreams. Don't you like Pastor Tokuma and Pastor Fumi? Their grandfather and grandmother, see the way they still look. Every time I see P-Talks I say P-Talks on Feba. Marriage is the coming together of a man and a woman from two different nations to create a new nation that will promote the best interests of all and whose culture will give our world rest. I've defined that, So let's quickly define headship. You see, the head of the home is neither the smartest or the richest. The head of the home is simply the steward saddled with the responsibility of creating the right environment for everyone's potential to find expression. So what that simply means is that you are not, because the head of state in Nigeria is not the richest Nigerian. It's not the smartest. In fact, every head of state should be able to shine, leveraging on the potential of everyone around him. That's the way good leaders behave. I once interviewed the MD of a bank, and he said to me, Praise, I'm just a lucky man drinking tea in the office because I hired the best brains to do the job for me. Because your child can have a say in what moves the family forward. But if you undermine the child, you will lose out. Some of you, the success factor in your family is in your wife. But because you grew up never to see your father listen to your mother, you have failed to listen to her. How do you have a wife who is the financial director of a company? A church pastor even finds her useful, but she can't handle family finance. Here is a question. If your family members have the opportunity of re-electing the president and vice president of a family every 4 years, will you be re-elected? Closed ballot system. We won't do open ballot. Will you make it? It's every 4 years. We have to elect whether you will remain father or daddy or remain mommy. So there are 4 battle lines you need to pay attention to, especially as an African. Now, globally and with our children and with our families, because I've seen the Indians curate their families. I've seen the UK is an expert at storytelling. I went to a castle, I worked in the UK in April. I went to a castle that has been standing for 1,400 years. We paid £17 to go on a tour of that castle. That morning when I got there, about 10 o'clock, there were over 350 people taking the tour with us. So I was looking at how much they were making. It's in a small village. And they were telling stories. This is the person that built this castle, the lovers who came here, and I saw the family tree. But many of us, even if we ask your children to tell us about their grandfather, they know nothing about their grandfather. Once your history is lost, your identity is compromised. Follow me, I'm going somewhere. Now, so, the battle line of identity. Who do we say we are, and what does that mean to us? Because right now, when you say I'm a Nigerian, it doesn't mean anything really. Because we don't have an articulated family, Nigerian vision and Nigerian values. If you put 25 senators here and say, what is Nigerian values? They will give you different things. I have tried it before. Because they don't know. Right? So if you don't know who you are, how does your children, how will they introduce themselves? Some of your children are from a lineage of prince and royal family. But now they are now moving around like Yahoo boys. Because they don't know. The Bible said they know not, they do not understand the foundation of the world is shaky. I have said, yeah, God said, but you die like ordinary men. You will not die like ordinary people. Right? What is the ultra agenda? Of course, LGBT, they have their own agenda. The lack of intentionally articulated identity is an identity crisis. Because every family has got a superpower. We'll get there and I will show you how to practically understand that. Then history. What is our heritage? What stories are we telling ourselves? What systems have we built? So when you see the Jews, they tell themselves stories of Abraham, of David, of the warfare. If you see, there's a book, if you want to understand the Jewish nation, there's a book you must read, No Room for Small Dreams, by Shimon Peres. Shimon Peres is the father of modern day Israel, himself and David Ben-Gurion. Because when they became a state, people looked at them and they say, it will take them 1,000 years to become like American. And no, David Ben-Gurion stood up and he made the famous statement. He said, all experts are experts of the past. He said, there is no expert of the future. He said, to become an expert of what will be, vision must replace experience. And that was what transformed the entire Jewish state, and they built a system that can compete with anybody. So when Israel is going to war, they are not singing God of Elijah, send down fire. That's why when the terrorists said they would take it down Israel, so I said, well, we don't forgive. Our own job is to book an appointment with you, with the person that will forgive you, God. History. Number 3 is village. You see, right now, families of God must consider themselves into a village, and we must begin to have village meetings. Because what other tribes and races have over us is the fact that they can collaborate. If you're an Indian and I see Pitokes and I say uncle, it doesn't mean we are related by blood. Yes. Uncle is a password that says I'm Indian, open the way for me. Come on. I asked the head of the Indian community in Watford. He asked me, he said, how long does it take for a Nigerian to become a UK citizen? I said, about 10 years. And naturally, whenever any foreigner asks me a question, I throw the same question back at them. So I said, what about you? He said, well, for Indians that are interested, 1 year. I said, how is that possible? He said, when Indian lawyers go to school, they don't go and study law so that they can practice like every other. He said they go to study law to understand the loopholes in the UK system. He said, so our lawyers told us that there's an amount of tax that if you pay it, UK will beg you with citizenship. So I said, how do you do it? He said, we help them pay and we give them 10 years to pay back. So I asked him, what is the default rate? He said 0.01%. I said, so how come the default rate is very low? He said, because when you don't pay back, you have killed the next Indian, and you cannot kill an Indian if you are an Indian. Ha! My mind went back to my people. I said, we start this thing now. Somebody will collect from Watford and run to Leeds and go and collect another one. But because our behavior is not predictable, it actually shows that we don't exist. All right. How nations that don't exist is very simple. Once you can't predict their behavior, the number 2 thing is if they land in another nation and their accent changes to begin to align with that nation, they don't exist. You will see Indians who have been in the US for 25 years, they still have the Indian accent. Let our people go to Benin Republic. I wanna. Who are the custodians of our village and what system powers it? So Pastor Fumi and Pastor talks are classic example. They should actually be village leaders in here, and we should be having village meeting like this. Because what you do in village meetings, you position your people. Wealth is passed through families, and that's why I tell people, when you belong to a family, what you will be getting are appointments. If you don't belong to a family, you'll be seeking employment. I know a guy in UAE, he holds 19 positions, 19 appointments. He was born in 1976. He belonged to the family. Are we still here? Number 4 is our mission. Because every family has a mission. Why are we here? What does success mean to us? And who do we represent? I wear Nigeria on my sleeves. I have a green card in the US, but I wear Nigeria on my sleeves. I get into the room, I represent Africa. I was in Family Life Conference. They came up with a new certification. They said everybody must do it. It's binding on everyone. I said, who were the people that put it together? And they told me, they are professors. I said, okay, the professors are in the room. I said, was there an African on the table when you were doing it? They said, no. I said, have you ever seen any movie from Nollywood? They said, what is Nollywood? I said, so how do you understand us enough to be able to create a certification program? Based on that, it didn't fly. Oh, yes. The other day, they say, these African children, they are too active. They have ADHD. I said, they don't have ADHD. I said, have you pictured in your mind someone who wakes up in the morning, before he goes to school, he has to sell gala, and he run after buses? and he runs around the year. I say if you bring him to an enclosed place, even if you say sit down, something is running inside of him. He doesn't have ADHD. If you don't educate them, they think every child is like their children. They only have 3 months to come out, their children, to play publicly. We don't have winter. Our children play around, even when it's raining, they are dancing inside the rain. It's our authenticity. We won't apologize for it. But if we don't educate them about who we are, they will just generalize us and begin to, are you aware that during slave trade, there was a mental health problem that is documented called drapetomania? Go and ask any psychologist. You know what drapetomania means? It's a mental health problem that makes a slave want to escape from the slave trader. So all our forefathers that tried to escape, they classify them as mentally ill people. And the professor created drapetomania, and they were giving them injection. Yes. That's to know that everything runs around agenda. If you don't understand the agenda, you'll be a victim. So every successful race is powered by intentional systems, while others are powered by emotion. So today, we're going to liberate you from emotional decisions, so that your family can be built on a system. And from tonight, you will be under that system. You know, we have a family constitution, and we put in there that if you drop your shoe carelessly, you mop the house for 1 week. Unfortunately for me, it was World Cup. They played one match until 2 a.m. and I was watching it, and I left my shoe in the sitting room. So early morning, they wanted to do family altar, and everybody started laughing. And I said, it must be a good day. Everybody, you guys woke up in the ice. Then my son said, Daddy, look down. I saw my shoe. I said, oh my God. He said, you can't say, oh my God. He said, you know what the constitution says? I said, what does it say? He said, you need to mop the house for 1 week. Now I looked at his mouth. I couldn't tell my father that. But I knew I had 2 options. I had to do it or not to do it. If I didn't do it, I would have sent a signal that it was okay to break laws. So I put myself under the law, and I let it bound on me, and I mopped the house for 1 week. Since I modeled it, everyone took their punishment when they fell short of the constitution. The gap between a predictable and erratic society is often systems intelligence powered by village scripting. And let me tell you, you are going to be the first generation of ancestors who will model the right life to successive generation. So we need to take that responsibility. That's why it's going to be a bit tough, bumpy. But you see, our children will learn by observing us. Their children will learn by observing them. And so that's how change happens. Someone has got to take responsibilities. So here is an equation you must never forget. If you want to hack anything, it's a strategy equation, 3 pillars of strategy. You start with, what outcome do we want as a family or as an organization? Once you are clear, you must be clear. What type of family do you want to raise? What kind of ancestry descendants do you want to have? You want to be a descendant of royalty. If that's your outcome, then you come here. What is our internal capacity? Where you now audit yourself and you are honest to say, we don't have capacity for this. We are still shouting. Based on that, what training programs, what mentoring do we need? Do we need to be adopted by a family that have mastered it so that they can mentor us out of it? You need to be honest with yourself. And please, men, I'm begging you. Your women are showing up to get help. You are not showing up until it's stage 4 cancer. Please show up with your women. Showing up is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign that you really love your family and you want things to work. So internal capacity, then operating environment. Based on the internal capacity and the outcome, what is the operating environment saying? And this is where a lot of people fail. In fact, I do consulting for a number of African churches that want to come to the US, and I say to them, you see, to come here, you need to understand the operating environment. When they brought Christianity to Nigeria, it's Nigerians that was attending their churches, not British people. So you can't take Christianity back to Britain and it's still Nigerian that is attending. If you are taking it back, it must be British attending it, because they are the... But you see, you can't attract them if you behave in a particular way. you need to understand the culture. Right? So this equation, don't forget it. So we say that an effective family system is all about determining the outcome we want and adjusting ourselves to align with the required code that can produce the desired result. So here are systems you need to build, but we'll focus on one today. Maybe when next I come, we'll take the other ones. Right. So next slide, please. So you see, we are starting with the governing system. That's the only one we're going to do today. Your family, this is the most important. Because when your family have an effective governance system, the rest becomes easy. You need to build your family governance system, your communication system, your family educational system, your family economy system, domestic management system, entertainment and recreational system, security system, family healthcare and wellness system. These are all the systems you need to put in place for your family to work. Are we still here? So you see that our work is cut out. That's why when people say they want to do nation building, and all they do is prayer meeting to open up heaven against Nigeria, it's laughable to me, because there's no nation that has been built that way. You pray to God to get an idea of what to do, then you implement. You cannot be dancing around and say you're doing 72 hours of dancing so that heaven can. How do we measure? And we've done that year in, year out, year in, year out, year in, year out, and we keep doing it. But you see, you are here. You know, what I love about my work is that, you see, we don't need 1 million people to change anything. I went to Ajegunle, gathered 480 young people, right? Was working with them year in, year out for 7 years. The future has arrived, right? One of them is a lecturer in UI. Everything we taught then, teaching is spreading it across secondary schools, right? Some of them are tech whiz-kids right now. I'm seeing them and I'm seeing what is possible. That's why you see all these God of now, instant. Please stop. Don't go to those meetings. We call them, Fisai and I, when we talk, we call them low sperm count. They can excite, they can impregnate. So when you see pastors who are strategic, like Pete Oaks, like Pastor Steve, they don't have to be popular. Right? Because I know you like men of God who are popular. If they're doing this meeting, very popular. Just look around developed nations and see the people who really have real power, who are moving things. You don't know them. You don't know them. So how popular can John the Baptist be in his days? Who was in the desert? How popular do you think Jesus was, really? Because this ministry is not celebrity lifestyle. It's not. And we need to understand it. So you need to, if you have pastors who genuinely love you and they want the best for you and they're not manipulating your pocket, hold on to them tightly. Are we still here? So we start with the governance system because this is the most critical. Now in family governance, where governance is absent, chaos is inevitable. So imagine, that's why I laugh when some people just wake up and they think people overrate their intelligence or their power. Someone is operating within a nation and is claiming that he's more powerful than the president of that nation. After God is government. After government is government, because the license you are using to make noise they gave you. If they withdraw your license now, that's the end. Government can say they want to, you can build an entire camp, and government will say we want to site an airport there. They can even say that they discover gold there and they will relocate you to Bauchi. They will give you a bigger land, but it's in Bauchi. You can only make noise. At the end of the day, you won't do anything. And that's why you need to understand governance, because I think we don't understand governance, so we do things anyhow. And family is where you can understand governance. And that's why we need to become very intelligent as believers, because when you instill a governance system, I was sharing with them this morning, if you check when Daniel was recruited, there were 8 criteria listed. It wasn't just every Jew they took. Say number 1, Israelites. Number 2, of royal heritage. You know why they chose royalty? Because there are things that palace would have taught you naturally. For example, how to live, how to walk, how to talk, how to eat. If you are already in palace, you don't have to use cutlery, because you don't have time to be teaching all those ones. They say, I'm handsome, educated. So when you say education is a scam, education, about 8. So they were eliminating people because it's not just for everybody. That's why if your entry system is porous, people will mess you up. That's why if you are running a family, you can't be emotional, because your family will attract the people we call domestic terrorists. Domestic terrorist is any human being who upset the peace of you or your wife. And you know, America says we do not negotiate with terrorists, we deport them. So it could be your mother who is a domestic terrorist, who comes to your house and say, you know, I'm the one that gave birth to my son, oh, so I will carry my pot in this house. It is the responsibility of the son to say, you know what, this is our jurisdiction. Because when you see the territorial integrity of your family to someone else, then you have given permission to external aggressors to mess you up. Are we still here? So here are 4 critical elements in family governance. Number 1, your family must have a family vision. What do you see as a couple? And so the first thing you need to do, basically, you and your spouse, write the kind of family you want separately. Right? In fact, if you have children who are grown, bring your children. I'm running a class, 1-year class for people. Right? The students are in class. We've done 7 months now. Yeah, 6th month. They're going to do it till we are taking everything one after the other. Right? And so, family vision. If you have children who are grown, let them have an input. Say, we want to create a family vision. Let's create it together. Let everyone write whatever they want to write. Now, having done that, you ask, what type of family do we want to build? Is it known to the 2 of you? Have you written the vision down? Do you discuss it regularly? So if I ask you, how many married people are here? I will exclude our pastors. Right? How many married people are here? If I ask you and your spouse to write your family vision right now, will you write the same thing word for word? Can I see your hand? You write the same thing word for word? Word for word? No, it has to be word for word. Because you see, when you write a vision and one word changes, it changes the outcome. So this is what happens. Can I have my 2 experiments? Where are they now? Thank you. So this is what happens. They're a couple and they mean well. So if I ask her, write your family vision, and she writes, we want to build a godly family, even though that's not how to structure a vision. But let's just take that. Does she mean well for the family? Yes. And he says, I want to build a prosperous family. Is that a good vision? It means well. Yes. So hold yourself. Now, vision is a mental picture of a preferred future, which means vision is a destination. So prosperous family is where Brother Tomide is. Godly family is where Pastor Tokumbo is. Hold yourself. You mean well for the family. Achieve the vision. Let's see. So what is happening here? Every time you cause something friction within the family, this is what is happening. Then after a while, the most powerful person drags the other person, so you follow reluctantly. So she begins to follow reluctantly. So he's taking decisions, he's not consulting her, she's upset with it, but she's still following. But after a while, she begins to attend some meetings where they say, you are a feminist, show yourself, set yourself free, man has come. And so she detaches herself to pursue her vision. That's what you call divorce. But you know where it started from? Vision alignment. Thank you very much. So how do you create a vision? 5 steps. Step number 1, you start with the identity. So having written your desires for the family, who are we? Simple steps to write a vision. What is the best description of us? So is your family going to be a tribe? Is it going to be a nation? Is it going to be a race? Is it a community? Is it a company? Is it a business? You choose any. It can be a team. It can be a tribe. Whatever. It can be an empire. Right? So once you have chosen that, so you see an example there, they want to build a team. Now, once you choose whatever you choose, it will form the framework of your family. Because if you say you have chosen a team, for example, you know what it means? It means even if we have said that the wife is the one that will cook, if we are hungry and you are the one in the kitchen, you cook. Because we are a team. Because in team building, if your wife is the goalkeeper and you are the striker and you want to score and your wife has been dribbled and the ball is being passed to your net, you run back to save the goal from entering your net. Because players don't win or lose matches, teams win and lose matches. If the ball goes into your net, your team has lost, not your wife. That's why if your house is dirty and you are there, you didn't clean it, they will not say your wife is dirty, they will say your family is a dirty family. Are we together? Now, number two, having described the identity, you now qualify the identity. What type of identity are we? Right? So you can say, maybe you're a team of loving friends, or you're a team or a free team, an empire or whatever. Right? You qualify. You find a qualifier for it. 3, the spin. Now, I'm teaching you this because it's easy to teach. If it's tough for you to teach, write all those things you have written. Go on ChatGPT, because it might just not be accurate the way I would have wanted it for you. Just go on ChatGPT and say, can you craft 5 options of family vision for a family that wants to achieve this and this and this? It will do it for you in 1 second. Right? Then you can look it and now modify it, tweak it a little bit. So have I helped you? Good. Now, so the spin, what unique twist does your family bring to the outcome? What separates your family from every other family? Right? And so this team says they want to be free to be themselves. So you know what this means? This family will not do anko. Anko. You know what they do anko? Uniform. Say, every time we are going out, we are doing anko. No. We want to be free to be ourselves. So I want to wear, what suit you want to wear, whatever. It's fine. It doesn't affect us. Because that has created problems on family. You must wear anko. People have one uniform and their hearts are separated. Right? And so, if 1, 2, 3 comes to pass, who would be the direct beneficiary of who we become? Right? And then 5 is, if 1, 2, 3, 4 becomes a reality, who will be the ultimate beneficiary? Fantastic. So see the sample. To build a team of loving friends who are free to be themselves, raising other winning families, transforming the society. Is it clear enough? So that's how to craft a vision. Whenever I ask people to craft this vision, you know what they do? They craft their vision as if they want to start a church. So they want to create a family, holiness in the image of God. Who will Because once you do things like that, you can't build a framework around it. Right. So this is clear? Yes. Right. So you promise me you're going to do this? Yes. Do I get your word? Yes. Good. Okay. So once you move away out of here, you've done this. The next thing you want to do, having created your vision, is your family values. Now, for family values, there's a way we measure it. If we look at your values, and without, by the special grace of God, your value cannot deliver your vision, then your values are not right. Okay? So, in values, it's mutually shared values geared towards the vision. So you ask, what habits will help us achieve our purpose? What values guide your marriage? Will they help you realize your values? So in creating values also, there are 5 things you want to check. Now, in values creation, 1, there must be one word that represents your personal development outcome. That's the word that ensures that everyone in your family is growing and developing. So for example, what's like excellence, formidability, and things like that, right, might be that. So you want to choose a word that represents, that ensures that you're growing. There must be one word that represents your impact in the society, because the essence of your family is society. So what's like influence, leadership, service, right, falls in there. 3, words that encourage human relationship or define human relationship. So what like kindness, love, empathy fall into that category. Number 4, unique spark proposition, something that stands you out. It can be creativity, innovation, and whatever. Then lastly, there must be one word that represents wholeness, spirituality, and humanity. So maybe what's like faith, right? Maybe it could be love, it could be Christ-likeness, or whatever it is. Do you get it? So once you have those 5 values created, if I look at your 5 values and I look at your vision, your values must be able to deliver your vision. And so it means that your entire family must be bound by the values. Are we still here? Now let me tell you, if you understand what I'm teaching you, together we'll create a new nation without making noise. Because every system that will create a lasting change, they must not see you coming. Let me give you a tip. You know why all this righteous party of Nigeria have not produced anything? Because they start by going to announce. The people destroying Nigeria, do they announce their meeting? So the one that want to repair, they will announce our party, third force. You cannot see. Once you announce, you know what they will do? They will infiltrate you with APC and PDP and make you implode from within. And yet the third force has not developed sense to go and infiltrate APC and PDP because you don't have structures. This thing is very simple. I mean, they called me to one of the meetings, and we got to the meeting, and they brought out their phone. They were live streaming. They were showing, we are here to change Nigeria. I put my head on the desk all through. I wasn't sleeping. So when the convener of the meeting, we finished the meeting, he said, Mr. Praise, I'm disappointed in you. We called you here to come and to know what you are saying. And you were sleeping. I said, I wasn't sleeping, sir. He said, but I said, I put my head on my desk so that when they round you up, I can deny that I was not in this meeting. He said, what do you mean? I said, because every political meeting is a potential coup plotting. I've been to political meetings. You must not enter with your phone. If you have been to any governor's house, they will collect your phone from you. Right? I said, so you want to change Nigeria, you start by live streaming. So I told him, I said, see, the person that will report you to Aso Rock was in this meeting. And they were all looking at me. Because we don't even understand rules of engagement. The basic things we don't understand. That's why when government offers you some offer to come and be anything, you need to consider it. Because you will think they want you to serve. They may not want you to serve. They may want to stain you. An appeal, you need to understand these things. You go and share testimony. Do you understand this one? Are we still together? Yes. Okay. I've spoken in parables a little bit. But if you are wise, you can decode. So, when we see all of these things, then the next thing you now do is you turn your values into a creed that governs human behavior. What this does is it eliminates the need for you to shout on your children. So look at this organization, this family. Their visions, their values are trustworthiness, worship, influence, responsibility, and love. So what we did was to create a DNA code that they recite every day. So it says, I'm a symbol of trust and I'm trustworthy. Whatever goes out of me was passed and worship unto God. I influence my sphere with superior values everywhere I go. I am responsible and take responsibility for whatever happens around me. I am love, and heaven is what you experience when you encounter me. I-12, that's the acronym, TWIRL. Now what does this mean? When your child does a homework and you think it wasn't properly done, tell him to recite this. When it gets to whatever goes out of me must pass the test of worship unto God, you ask the question, can this homework pass the test of worship unto God? He says no. So go and do the one. You know, they asked the founder of Reliance Holding, that was the richest man in India many years ago. I think Mukesh Ambani is his name. They said, Mukesh, why is it that your products are always perfect? We've never seen any defect products in from your company. He said, the guy is Buddhist. He said, there's only one question we ask our staff to ask. When they produce anything, we ask them to lift it up, and they ask, can God take it from us? He said, if we cannot offer it to God as worship, we will not offer it to the customer. You know what I mean? Zero margin of error. So somebody says his work is worship, some other people worship is slow song. Think about it. A slow song. Now imagine if everyone who sells spare parts in Nigeria says, we will not sell spare parts if we can't sell it to God. Nobody will sell fake. But you know, our boys will do praise and worship, then they are still going to sell fakes. Are we still here? Now, if your child is doing somehow to you, is behaving somehow, you know, and maybe he's throwing tantrums, I am love, and heaven is what you experience when you encounter me. You need to ask, are you giving me heaven right now? Or are you giving me hell? So you make your values into a creed that govern their behavior. With this, you eliminate shouting and screaming. Then you now make them conscientious in a way that they are self-regulating from within. Do you understand this one? Yes. So I've taught you how to create a vision, how to create values. If you want a school, you can adopt this. Yes. Even as a church, you can do it. Okay, good. Number 3 thing you need to create are your family legends. Your family legends and your history are critical, because how did we get to talk about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Was it not because someone documented it? What about your own lineage? There's no history there. There is. I didn't know. When I was born, my father told me I was born in that his family, his ancestral home is Iduani. My mother is from Ikpele. Right? Iduani and Ikpele are in Ondo State. So when I started doing my research, Peter knows me when I started. I went to check. How did Iduani came to be? How did Ikpele came to be? You know what I found? I realized that the son of King Ewari from Edo Kingdom started Iduani. Another son of another king from Edo started Ikpele. So technically, I was supposed to be from Edo State. So how did I end up in Ondo State? I realized that because Iduani was situated in a place close to Ose River, and then Ose, Ondo State now claim Ose. So in state creation, they cut it out. So I went back to understand Benin Kingdom because that's where I'm from. And Benin has a very rich history. And so I define myself based on that. So I suffer no low self-esteem anywhere I go. Because I know who I am. Right? And so in creating your ancestry, there are 7 things you need to know. And why do we need to create this? The Bible supports it. So Psalm 44. We have had it with our ears, O God. Our ancestors have told us what you did in their days, in the days long. With your hand you drove out the nations and planted our ancestors. Read that word. Don't read it as a Christian. Read it like an English person. That God actually drove out some people from some land and planted their own ancestors there. Right? And crushed the peoples and made our ancestors, the inhabitants. So the question is, what territories are your own ancestors taking? What did your own ancestors tell you? Because you see, there's a danger where we disconnect ourselves totally from our ancestry because we think it's demonic. No, if your father was an Ifa priest, there's a principle in there. He was standing between God and man. So there is a lineage of priesthood in there. Even when you are still born again, there will be priesthood in you. So just pick the principle that is possible in there and use it to create a story for yourself. Instead of throwing it away and you now look like someone that has no past. Are we together? Follow me. So if you want to create your family legends and vision, the first thing you need to do is, what lineage are you from? So you want to start with, because if you do this well, you would have created a family mythology book that your great-great-grandchildren can read and know who they really are. Right? So you want to start with your source. What's your surname and what does that mean? Right? What does your surname mean? Some of you don't know. Right? What was your maiden name and what does it mean if you had any? Right? What village are you from and what is the foundational history? What country are you from and what is the short history of that country? So for example, you can put Nigeria, the greatest black, most populous nation on earth. Continent and history with notable names. Because your story, I'm glad my brother told me that. I'm sure he's bubbling because he understands what I'm saying. Storytelling, you can even go and consult him and give him money to help you create your own family legend. Because see, the power of narrative management is that you can create what you want to create. If you repeat it intentionally, it becomes true to the people that listen to you. Every nation has got their mythology. Yoruba people actually believe that it was Oduduwa that created heaven and earth. Are you aware? You don't know the story. They say God sent Obatala to come and create heaven and earth. But on his way, he saw palm wine. And he got drunk. And God now sent his brother, Oduduwa, who now came to create heaven and earth. But heaven and earth was not created. Where did he find palm wine? Anyway, we believe it. Because, I'll tell you this carefully, it's a church, but we need to understand culture. Part of our culture, they destroyed part of our culture during colonization. And they created some things in our culture that is not a reflection of our culture. For example, a simple example is, Eshu in the Yoruba history is not Satan. It's not Satan. Eshu is actually classified as a god who God will send to go and avenge on behalf of his enemies. But in the translation of the Bible, right, they needed to take our people away from the worship of Eshu. So Satan was called Eshu. Narrative management. The word, America said they are God's own nation. If you live in America, will you see anything God's own nation there? But they believe it all. Say they are the policeman of the world. Right? Go and check. Britain wrote a song. Our forefathers sang the song all through slave trade. Rule Britannia, Britannia rule the waves. Britain shall never, never, never be slaves. Go and check the stanzas of that song. The first stanza says, when Britain at heaven's command, the angels came down and God sent them and God gave them a song. And this was the song, that Britain will rule over the world, but Britain will never be slave. Where did the angels show? But guess what? They sing it with so much passion. You know, Britain has never been ruled or colonized or something. They believed it became their reality. And that is why, if you don't know your story, you know, this is the mistake we make. I come around my sister and I begin to scream, I have power, I am powerful. If she doesn't stand up to say she's also powerful, my being powerful will drain her own, and after a while she starts to worship me. That's the only reason that Boski is popular in Nigeria, because he's loud and he's bold in his ignorance. But everyone knows him. He even wrote a song, I have power, I want to release my power. He went to the UK and he pulled a crowd and he's saying Daboski Pauze. The lesson from that guy is that if you are bold and loud with your authenticity, after a while everybody will follow you. You know, if I go to Shodi Market today and I jump up 7 a.m. and I say I'm Sakosha, people will look at me and they say something is wrong. If I come back tomorrow and I repeat the same thing, they will still look at me. If I do that 21 days, on the 22nd, if I'm coming, you know what they will say? Shakosha is coming. Shakosha. Before I jump, they will jump with me. That's how influence works. If you are not consistent with who you say you are, other people are loud, will drown you and you begin to worship them. So source is the first thing. Number two, in creating your family history, is the family tree summary. So you now need to create your family tree summary. Who is your ancestor in your family? You may not know all the stories, but at least the one that you know who was supernatural or did something extraordinary. Right? Who is the ancestor? What's the great-grandfather, grandfather, father, and children? What is peculiar to your family? If you mention the Anikulakwos, you know it's activism. Right? That is their superpower. If you mention some other family, it's industry. If you mention some other power, is priesthood. If you mention some other family, is, you know, everybody has got something. So you need to look back. Because whatever God has given you, the gift and the calling of the God is real repentance. It is there. Whether you now use it is up to you. That takes me to number three. Number three, what is the superpower in your family? What are your traits and tendency? Can you do a short summary of those things? What is the historical achievement and notable personalities that emerge from your family? So we're going to write Pastor Talks now and his own ancestry. We'll write about how he pioneered Capstone. I mean, how he pioneered the new order in the body of Christ. You know, where church is now without walls. It's like a resource center and blah, blah, blah. We put notable names in there. So when his great grandchildren are reading it, and somebody wants to say to them, yeah, from a family of nobody, say, no, go to Yaba. My ancestor. Have you heard about Capstone Resource Center? Right? Before Capstone Resource Center, there was no church that bought a resource center in this country. So we are from a family of pioneers. So we don't bow down to anybody. If you see the arrogance with which Jews talk, that's why now they are fighting everybody, saying stop. Benjamin Netanyahu is not listening. Deep down in his heart, he believes that I can take on the whole world. You see, I'm teaching you how to ensure that your children no longer have to have low self-esteem. Because they have esteem because they don't know who they are. They don't know their story. And that takes us to number 4, mission and message. Every family has got a mission and a message for the world. So you want to check what is our perceptual code. Perceptual code is a descriptive word that governs the behavior and engagement of everyone in the family. So if I say every member of this family is dash, what is that dash? Are they royalties? Are they diplomats? Are they celebrities? You need to choose one. If you say they are royalties, it will affect the way you cook, the way you serve food. It will affect the way they dress, the way the house is arranged. If you said they are celebrities, you must have a paparazzi spot where everybody takes picture when they go out and they come in your house. So your perceptual code must also determine how you address your children and how you correct them. If you say they are royalties, you can't shout and scream and slap them. So your propensity to shout and yell must drop. You now need to negotiate and rent a space in their head, but insist and build a system. Right? Family mission or vision. You already have that. What are the significant moves in your family, and what are the consistent results that everybody from this family has to get? And that takes us to number 5. Your governance. You've done your vision already, remember? So you just put it there. You've done your values, put it there. DNA creed, put it there. Then you create your constitution and policies. So in our family constitution right now, if I want to take a second wife, there's a process there. The process is we call a family conference, and we put in the motion that daddy wants to take a second wife. Then there are eligible voters, where majority carries the vote for that motion to be moved. And the eligible voters is my wife and my children. So how will I take a second wife? Are we together? It's in our constitution, for example, where we must live. We must live amidst 3 friends who share our family values, because we believe in community parenting. It's there. It's there in our family constitution. You don't get a phone as a child until you are 13. So when my daughter say, that there's a boy in my class, Chikelu, he has a phone. I said to her, what is your name? Say Imole Oluwa Presbyterian. I said, do we change that name to Imole Oluwa Chikelu and pack your load to the house? He said no. I said, that's their family. This is our family. Your family is a nation, right? So what are the governing system? Because you now need to create routines and rituals. Number seven is what? Please give me number 7. Spirituality and summaries, right? Are there been unique prophecies about your family? You need to document them, because some of those prophecies have not been fulfilled. They may be fulfilled in the 5th generation, but there must be awareness that prophecy exists. My father, great-grandfather, was an illiterate. Told my father, my great-grandfather told my father that he was an illiterate, but he said none of his lineage must be an illiterate. And I believe that his names will somehow go around the world. And my father mentioned it. My mom mentions it. So my mom sees what I do right now. He says, you are fulfillment of that prophecy. I said, no, I'm just an introduction of the prophecy. Yeah, because you must know where you fit in. But it must be documented. It was just oral interpretation. But there must be documentation, right? So what is unique? What is the significant deed and message that your family has got for the world? And that takes me to number 4 in the things you need to know. Next one, please. Next slide. Which is where I'm going to stop. Create a compelling story out of all the things you have written so far. So consult Apostle Tomide. Is a storyteller. You can actually make a book out of your family legends. I went to Greece. They were talking their Greek mythology. Very funny stories. They talk about Eros, Aphrodite, Pythagoras, and all these things. It didn't make sense to me. I wanted to run out of the class. As I wanted to run out, the Holy Spirit rebuked me and said, when you tell people that the blood of Jesus can wash anybody's sin, he said, how do you think other people feel who are not Christians? I said, it's true, because blood should stain. Blood should stain your white clothes. It cannot wash. He said, but because I'm Christian, I know that I can wash your sins away. He said, so listen and learn. But they were saying that the Greek people were crying. I said, wow. Then I understood the power of stories. Right? Go and check the German history. Go and check. Are you aware that Egyptian history, for example, they totally edited the fact that Israel came to them from their own history. It's not their Red Sea, it's not in their history. They took it out because it doesn't pay them. That's why you can't go to Egypt now and be praying. The Egyptians you see today, you will see them. Okay, let's close. 4. Number 4, you create a family culture. Implement an effective routine and ritual and create a culture. And what does that mean? There must be activities that your family must do annually. There must be some you must do biannually. There must be some you must do quarterly. There must be some you must do monthly. There must be some you must do weekly, and there must be daily. Right? See, The Indians have a festival called Diwali. People think Diwali is a festival. Diwali is not a festival. Diwali is a conditioning process, because Diwali is done in 5 days, and the 5 days is documented what you must do every all those 5 days, right? And so now Diwali is global. Part of the days is you buy gold, and everyone is giving gold. You know what they're doing? Wealth consciousness. So they make gold common. So if a child does Diwali for 21 years, he's already used to wealth, so he can't settle for less. So we call it subliminal conditioning. So for example, my father ensured that we pray every morning and evening. So I wasn't born again. When I got born again, there were scriptures I didn't have to learn again, because I knew them. In fact, those days people come to preach to me, as you are quoting the scripture, I'll finish it for you, right? So it was already a way of life. My father woke us up at 4 a.m. till tomorrow. Let me sleep anytime. I'll wake up at 4. Conditioning. Are we still here? So everything I've taught you, the big part of the work is that implementation. Because it will look like work, but let me tell you, put yourself as someone that God has sent as a savior to save your entire generation and those that will be born after you till the 10th generation, and ask yourself, don't you think you are privileged to be carrying this body on behalf of God? I know Uncle Tomide is going to do it. I know. It's you. I don't know whether you're going to do it.